Hello, and we are back to continuing our journey with our faith, and we left out with what is salvation, this passage from being evil to good, from slavery to freedom. Now, we are going to talk today about the gift of the Spirit. We all know that the day of the resurrection of Christ, he found his apostles locked in a room. They were covered with fear. They were blind. They were paralyzed. They didn't know what to do. They were just in this complete astonishment of the death of Christ and not knowing where to go, what to do, no guidelines or anything. They were lost and closed in their room. Mary was there with them, and together they supported one another, living in hope. For Jesus had told them that he would rise from the dead. But how was that going to happen? Nobody had ever experienced that. Then he comes in their midst and he blows on them and he says, receive. Receive the Holy Spirit. Receive the Holy Spirit so that you are able to overcome those fears, so that you are able to go out into the world and do something that is very godly, and that is to forgive sins. And this took away the fear of the apostles, and after that they were able to open the doors, or through the power of the Spirit, the doors opened, and Peter was not just a fisherman. He was now the pastor, the fisher of man, as Jesus had told him. And so he had that courage to come and speak out, he who never spoke in public before. The Spirit had taken over him. The Spirit had taken away his fears and his anxieties, took away what he thought would prevent him from doing his mission. And St. Paul talks to us about that. It's not a spirit of fear that he has given to us. It's a spirit of strength, a spirit of love, a spirit of courage, a spirit of understanding. All these gifts we give at the confirmation, and there we are receiving them with the gift of the Spirit. So the Spirit helps us to understand, helps us to clarify really the mission of Christ and our mission, as we are part of the mission of Christ, as we saw that this salvation movement from death to new life is a journey that we do every day and every moment of our lives, and that is thanks to the gift of the Spirit. So we have no fear. We should have no fear to overcome. Oh, I can't do this, and I can't do this, and I can't. No, we can, and we want, and we will. That is where we become intentional disciples. That is where we become disciples that really want to let themselves be taken up by the Spirit and to go forth. It takes courage. That's the big thing. And at the beginning of the faith, the people who were following Jesus and were taken up by Jesus, they were showing a way, a new way of living, a new way of being a person of faith, carrying within them the presence of Christ. And then we speak of Jesus as the truth. The truth isn't a concept. It isn't a principle. It's the person of Jesus. Jesus is that truth. And the life that we always talk about, Jesus is that life. With the gift of the Spirit, we become Christ-like. We become people who are really engaged and wanting and will follow Jesus intentionally, because we are intentional disciples. And so Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life that we are looking for. So life is not something, a stagnant thing. Life is a becoming. It's an attitude of becoming somebody. It's becoming that Christian that we are called to be. It's the becoming of who we want to be and how we really want to be disciples of Christ in this time of the risen Lord. And since we are people of the risen Lord, we are people who have been received the Spirit, we are in the becoming of the true disciple we are called to be, by letting go of certain things and by adopting and adapting to new situations, new realities, and to new things in our lives. So that is what this Spirit do. The Spirit helps us to give us that courage to overcome our fears and our anxieties and all these different things that could lead us to negative forces or negative energies. It is full of positive, life-giving actions that we want to do to bring Christ in our midst. And that's what the Spirit wants us to do. We are sent to bring that Spirit, and no better way to do it than by the forgiveness of sins and by acts of mercy, which we have just gone through in this year of mercy. Acts of mercy to show that Christ is present in our world, that he is still the way, the truth, and the life. Thank you very much.